Everything I know about Curtis Coleman is good. It's of high values, and I'm very proud to introduce my friend Curtis Coleman.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Representative. I am so delighted to be back in Marion County. I should tell you that as we drove up today, and I'm delighted to have my wife, Catherine, who you'll recognize as both the brains and the beauty of this outfit for us, but I'm glad to have her with me tonight. And as we drove up, between, I guess, about Clinton and Mountain Home, I showed her at least half a dozen places I thought we should buy and live at. So, yeah, I think the first one was at Botkenberg, the ranch out there. And I tried to explain to her that maybe I could go past her Botkenberg Baptist Church, but because I was sure that was the parsonage of the pastorium there, and she didn't buy that either. But I am so delighted to be here. I'm so honored to be on the platform tonight with our keynote speaker and his wonderful wife, Kathy, and our National Committee woman, Rita Hamilton, and especially with Representative Kelly Link and his wonderful wife. And it's an honor to be here. I see so many friends here tonight. I will tell you, when I walked in the door, the first person I saw and talked to was my very dear friend, Steve Womack, the congressman from the 1st District, and he was so gracious. But one of the first things he said to me was, "Just remember, I have a long drive home tonight." And so I said, "I do remember that. I know my place." And I was actually thinking about giving him my time, but since he had a long drive home tonight, I knew we wouldn't get out if he took my time, so we're not going to do that. And it's a special honor to be in this building tonight that represents the men and women who've given their lives to make this very event possible. All of you who are veterans or have served or now serve, would you stand, please, and let us say thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. We know we're here tonight because the men and women like you and you that makes this all possible. I never forget that. And let me just, while I'm talking about that, express my personal gratitude to Senator Bozeman, who has been a champion of veterans and veteran affairs in our country all the years that he served. And I thank you, Senator, for all you've done and continue to do. God bless you for that. I will tell you, thank you. I will tell you that on my way up here, I changed my whole speech about what I was going to talk about. And so I should warn you that we're both hearing this for the very first time. And I'm not kidding about that, I can tell you. And here are my transcribed notes. So we'll see what comes out tonight. But I love to talk, I love history. I love American history. I love to talk about American history, and it's so rich and full and so contemporary with what we're going through today. We're fighting the same battles they fought 235 years ago, folks, and nothing less than that. And I'm convinced it will require a sacrifice, nothing less than theirs. Now, I came tonight intending to talk about that, but as Representative Link said a moment ago, there are such urgent and immense issues happening right now in Little Rock, at our state capitol, that I want to talk about that tonight. In fact, if I were to title what I was going to say tonight, I would title it "The Bribery and Blackmail of Arkansas." Because, folks, I want to tell you that is exactly what's being attempted in Little Rock at this very time. And I would circle around two particular bills. One of them is House Bill 2138, and the other one is Senate Bill 880. They're twin bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, and they both do the same thing. They require, or they facilitate the implementation of the health care exchanges required by the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which you may know better as Obamacare. And these are two bills to immediately begin the implementation of those health care changes in Arkansas. One of them was defeated Friday. It'll come up again Monday morning, and very likely, I will tell you, will pass Monday in committee. But let me describe to you what's happening here. The federal government, in the passage of Obamacare, has given states an option on the implementation of these health care exchanges. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what those are. I'm going to assume that you're familiar with that. And basically the option is the state can implement them, and if the state chooses not to implement them, the federal government will do it for the state. And so here's the deal. If the state of Arkansas chooses to move immediately forward with the implementation of, we'll just say, Obamacare in Arkansas, the federal government will give Arkansas federal grants to pay for the implementation of those health care exchanges in Arkansas. And the threat is that if we don't move forward with the implementation of Obamacare, then the federal government will do it for us. Now, I will tell you, in the first place, it irritates the daylights out of me for somebody to testify before a committee like the Commissioner of Insurance in Arkansas, Jay Bradford, and suggest that if the federal government pays for it, Arkansans aren't. Which is exactly what is suggested. Folks, I got to tell you, I don't care if it comes out of my wallet and goes through Little Rock, or if it comes out of my wallet and goes through Washington. It still comes out of my wallet, and it feels exactly the same. Yeah. Don't tell me the federal government is paying for it, because I know where they get their money. So we can do it, and the federal government, just tolerate it, will pay for it for us, or they'll do it for us. That's our choice. Now, the threat is, if you believe the testimony of Commissioner Jay Bradford, the threat is that if the federal government does it for us, that they will, number one, control insurance rates in Arkansas. And if you have a problem with your insurance company, instead of calling somebody in Little Rock, you're going to have to call somebody in Washington, D.C. That's the threat. But let me tell you, it doesn't make any difference whether Arkansas implements it or Washington implements it. It all has to be done by exactly the same federal guidelines. So what is the intent? The intent is to accelerate the implementation of Obamacare in the states before it can be repealed or declared to be unconstitutional. That's the intent, and that is the strategy, and that's what's being held over our heads in Little Rock right now. Now, why are they doing that? Well, because of something Ronald Reagan said, believe it or not. Ronald Reagan said, there is nothing closer to eternal life on this planet than a government program. And let me tell you, folks, even if Obamacare is declared unconstitutional, or even if it is eventually repealed or defunded, there is money now available through the federal government and through the initial inaction or what's the word I'm looking for? The initial adoption of Obamacare to fund the implementation of health care exchanges in the states now. And I got to tell you, if they get it going now, it won't make any difference what happens in 2 or 3 years, because my guess is you've never seen a federal or state government program end. And that's why I'm calling this the blackmail and bribery of Arkansas. It's happening to all the states. Now, there are an almost unlimited number of constitutional problems with this. I mean, for instance, number one, Obamacare itself is a horrible abuse of the Commerce Clause of the Constitution. It is an incredibly egregious misapplication, appropriation of the General Welfare Clause. And what they're doing to Arkansas and other states right now through HB 2138 and SB 880, which I mentioned a moment ago, folks, is an inarguable violation of the dual sovereignty principle of the Constitution, which the Supreme Court has consistently upheld, which says that no state agency and no state employee can be compelled to carry out or implement a federal guideline or policy. But that is exactly what they're forcing us to do. That's the kind of stuff Kelly League's fighting right now. And if you want to say it's no fun, you're right. And the tentacles of this are just enormous. And I'm going to tell you two of them. One of them is was Senate Bill 709. That's a bill introduced by Senator Missy Irvin from Mountain View. And I got to tell you, you want to talk about somebody who's knocking home runs in Little Rock, then it's Senator Missy Irvin from Mountain View. She introduced a simple bill. It was the best written bill of the whole session. It was required accountability and responsibility in government. How can you be a state legislator and vote against accountability and responsibility in government? But they did. And all Senate Bill 709 required is for the health, the insurance departments in Arkansas to brief legislators in advance of the implementation of Obamacare, what it was going to cost, how many people it would impact, how it would be funded past federal funding, and what the alternatives were. What's wrong with that bill? Got voted down in committee. And the other one I'll tell you about, and I'm going to close here, is Senate Bill number 113 by Senator Cecile Bledsoe from Rogers, who I will tell you has been, in my opinion, the hero of the Senate in this session. Senate Bill 113 is a simple bill that simply says there's an opt-out provision in Obamacare that gives states the opportunity to opt out of using their taxpayer funds to pay for abortions through these health care exchanges. That's all it does. Now, folks, there is an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution, Amendment 68, in which Arkansans overwhelmingly adopted when they said we do not want our taxpayer funds to be used to pay for abortions. And Senator Bledsoe's bill simply says we're going to opt out and you can't use our taxpayer funds to pay for abortions. Been tabled, and it looks like unless the committee calls it up, it'll die on the table. The ultimate end of that, should that happen, should Obamacare be declared to be constitutional, which I cannot imagine, but if it is, then federal law just superseded the Arkansas Constitution. And your taxpayer dollars will be used to pay for abortions through healthcare exchanges, whether you want it to be or not. So what's the message about all this? The message is that elections have consequences. That's the message. And the message is that we fight tonight for the very same reasons and the very same principles and values that our forefathers fought 250, 230 years ago, and nothing less. Our forefathers fought to create a document called the Constitution, which purpose was to limit government and protect the rights and liberties of its citizens. Unprecedented in the history of the planet. But tonight we're seeing an effort to protect government and limit the rights and freedoms of its citizens. And I tell you folks that while our forefathers fought to create this country, we're going to have to fight to continue it. Some of us are being called racists and bigots, uneducated extremists, for the simple reason that we believe in the principles of the Constitution, that we believe in a limited government, and we believe the government should protect its rights and its citizens. And I say to you, we must not be discouraged and we must not be deterred from our calling and our opportunity. Our forefathers fought with bullets, bayonets, and bloody feet because they didn't have boots to wear in the winter of 1776 and 77. We don't have to fight with bullets, bayonets, and bloody feet, but folks, we must fight with well-articulated principles. And we must fight with an indefatigable commitment to the purpose. And we must fight with an unmatched passion for what we're about. And we must fight with an unwillingness to ever surrender or give up what has been given to us by our forefathers. Andrew Napolitano, not related to the other one, 3 summers ago made a speech in which he said, seldom in history is one generation given the responsibility of protecting freedom in the hour of its greatest need. He said, you are that generation, this is your responsibility, and now is that time. God bless you. Thank you so much.